Hi and welcome back to Nutrition Mind. I'm Katie and I'm an accredited practicing dietitian and a mum to an 8-month-old. And I thought I would do a video today on pouched baby foods or puree foods that you can get at the shops and sort of answer some questions that people might have about using these with their bub. And now I have a lot of experience using these. So as a mum to a really young baby, you're hit with all the different judgments and expectations of all the people around you, how other mums did it. You know, they bought the steamer and blender, especially for baby foods. They made all these lovely balanced meals. And you have that expectation on yourself to do it. And I definitely felt the pressure being a dietitian to do it myself, to give my baby the best start. But reality is, you know, if you're working, if you've got other demands on you, it's not practical to make all that food all the time. And sometimes you realize you need to feed your baby and there is no prepared food. So I definitely found myself reaching for these babies, for these pouches, because I just didn't have the time or the energy. And I wanted to demystify the guilt surrounding these choices that we make sometimes, because really you shouldn't have to feel guilty. But I will cover some of the nutritional considerations we should make when we are using products like this, because they definitely do fit into a healthy diet. So first off, the ones that I found myself reaching to were, I tried to veer away from any that were fruit-based, just with the idea that I'm trying to get my baby used to all these different tastes, you know, all the different vegetables and meats out there. And I didn't want them to be too drawn to sweet because that's what they prefer. They want to eat a lot of fruit, a lot of grain products, which is great, but not entirely as the majority of the solid food that they're eating. So I wanted to get my baby used to different veggies. So I went for the pouches that didn't have any fruit mixed into them. So I've got, for instance, some examples: lamb, peas, broccoli, beef, vegetable and rice, chicken, cheddar, cheese, cauliflower rice. So all very savory ones, just so that he could get used to the savory, blander taste rather than the sweet. The most important nutrition consideration that should be taken with your baby at this age, that's sort of 6 months of age, is iron, getting their iron intake, whether they're breastfed or formula-fed babies. Around 6 months, they don't get enough iron through their breast milk. So we really need to start putting the foods in that are iron containing. So thinking of your meats, particularly red meat, your legumes, things like that. So what's going to bring iron in? So once again, making these choices at the shop. So just choose one with a bit of meat in it. So that's why I was going for the beef, lamb, chicken options, just to try and give some iron when I wasn't making an iron-rich meal myself. Now, I haven't got examples here, but there's so many others you can get there, like some porridge, fruits and whatnot. I didn't buy any of those just because I was sort of making those foods a lot easier for my baby. So I'd make him up some porridge just fresh. So I didn't really need that on hand as a pouch, but I was finding the main meals at lunch and dinner, when I'd make me and my husband a meal, if it wasn't appropriate to blend up for the baby, I then just was time poor to think of something else to do. So that's where these really came in for us. These pouches, so they contain different types of vegetables, grains and meats, sometimes some dairy product. So generally they're trying to be balanced. They're great shelf stable, so you can just have these in the cupboard ready to go. Once opened, keep them in the fridge because they can spoil, and try and use it within a day of opening, just so that it's food safe. But these can stay on shelves for a very long time, not because of preservatives, but because of how they were made. So they're ultra heat treated, which is basically means that they were heated to a temperature which kills any type of microbe that could be living in or on these, so that they can stay on the shelf for months and months without spoiling in their airtight containers. So great, fine to eat. One thing with extreme heat treating, it will degrade the vitamins in the fruits and vegetables. So your vitamin C, B vitamins, they can be quite susceptible to heat. So their content will be a lot lower in something like this compared to if you made it yourself. Another thing that I've been told by clients and other mums is that, oh, I don't use puree foods because they're so processed and they just add a whole bunch of crap in there. So once again, you get that judgment of, oh, I'm not giving my child the best thing. But having a look through all the different labels out there, it's clear that they don't actually add too much extra to it beyond what ingredients you'd actually use at home. So just having a look at the ones I've got in front of me, like some of them are organic. Actually, I think all of these actually say organic. And the term organic doesn't really mean too much in Australia because it's not legally regulated. So companies can actually just pop organic on this and that without actually defining what organic means. But all of these are sort of made to be quite natural, and their ingredients contain mainly the foods that they advertise. But for instance, you might see a bit of, in one of these there's a bit of citric acid, which is just vitamin C, and it acts as a preservative. But all the rest are just the veggies, a bit of meat, some grain, water. So it's all stuff that you'd use at home. So in terms of thinking about, oh no, what additives am I exposing my baby to? Most of the brands are pretty good and minimally processed. In terms of the meat content in some of these, so I went for these for a bit of protein and iron to give to my baby. Some of them are really low in meat. So you look at the percentages in the ingredients section, some of them were as low as 6%. I think one of these brands is quite good. It's around 13%. I think I haven't seen anything higher than 15%. So the higher the percentage of the meat, the sort of better quality ingredient in there, the better, versus just mainly veggie based. So that was one of my main criticism of these pouches. If you look at the shop and all the options, they're all very heavily based around sweet potato, pumpkin, carrot, very orange. Even when you squeeze it out, and I'll show you a picture, they're all very orange, so much so that, you know, it will stain your baby's face orange, their poos might come out orange, and that's the beta carotene in those orange vegetables, which is a substrate of vitamin A, which our body uses for many different things, particularly eye development, immunity and whatnot. Only thing is, if we're having too much vitamin A in a baby's diet, it's not ideal over the long run. So if their diet was wholly based around these, they'd be having way too much beta carotene and not other balanced vitamins and minerals that we'd want them to have in their diet. So that's the only criticism. So I was struggling to find other colors. So there were a few green ones. I think the fish one is more of a sort of paler because it's got cauliflower and corn in it. So yeah, so it's very orange overloaded. And I think it's just trying to, once again, add a bit of that sweetness so babies prefer it without adding the fruit. So I'd say if we're doing 100% pouch foods all the time, it's not going to be a balanced diet for your baby. So not all the time, but in times of need, 100% a great option to have. So I'd say pros to using pouch foods: convenient, generally well balanced, a good exposure to certain vegetables and meats. Some cons or some considerations you might want to have when you're using a lot of pouch foods: might not be as balanced compared to making the foods at home. Some vitamin loss in the heat processing of these, depending on your choice, can be quite fruit heavy or beta carotene orange heavy, so trying to mix that up. And not too much iron contained even when they do contain meat, just because some of them can be quite low in percentage. But overall, safe baby to eat. My baby loved pretty much all of them that I gave him. I even tried some and some were really yummy. They added nice herbs. But yeah, you do what works well for your bub and your family, and hopefully this has helped clarify some of your questions. So there you have it. You can use these pouches without any worries because a dietitian on the internet said it was okay. Thanks for watching. If you've got any questions or comments about anything that I spoke about today or any other sort of baby related or food related questions, please reach out or leave a comment and I'll try and cover that sometime in the future. But in the meantime, take care and stay safe. Bye.